If your emotions control your actions, your life will always be a reaction. But the day your actions begin to control your emotions, that's the day your life will finally change. There comes a time in life when we realize something very strange. The biggest battles we fight aren't in the world outside, they're in the world inside. We think our problems are people, circumstances, the economy, our past, our failures. But most of the time, it's our own emotions pulling the strings. One day we're confident, the next day we doubt everything. One day we're disciplined, the next day we procrastinate like the world owes us another chance. And the crazy part, the same person who was unstoppable yesterday is the same person who can't get out of bed today. So the real question isn't how do we change our lives? It's how do we change the emotions that control our lives? Because if you don't learn to beat your emotions, they will beat you into regret. They will whisper, "Do it tomorrow." They will scream, "You're not good enough." They will pull you back to comfort while your future waits in discomfort. And if you stay with me till the end of this message, you'll learn 3 keys that will help you not just control your emotions, but command them. These keys can make fear obey you, make discipline feel natural, and make your dreams stronger than your feelings. Let's begin. Quack's keynote once expanded to 1,000 words. No headings, no ending sentence. Siri emotion is one of the most powerful forces given to us, and because of that power, most people assume it should lead the way. We live by phrases like, follow your heart, or trust your feelings, go with your emotions. And while those sayings sound poetic, they can be incredibly dangerous when taken as a rule for life. You see, the heart can want what is wrong, and feelings can mislead you just as easily as they can inspire you. The real truth is that emotion was never designed to lead you. Emotion was designed to serve you. It was created to add energy to your thoughts, not replace your thinking. But today, most people let emotions take the wheel, and then they're shocked when their lives crash into the consequences of decisions made without thinking. Think about it. When someone gets angry and says something hurtful that destroys a relationship, was it really their intention? No, they were simply following emotions without giving logic a chance to guide them. When someone spends their savings on a moment of impulse and later regrets it, was that their plan? Of course not. They let emotion lead the decision instead of letting logic take the lead and letting emotion serve the decision. Life breaks down the moment you let feelings choose your actions. Feelings are temporary, but consequences are permanent. One emotional mistake can take years to undo, which is why letting emotions lead is the fastest way to live a life of regret. Most people think their feelings are truth, but feelings are not truth. Feelings are responses. They respond to the temperature of your life. They respond to your habits, your disciplines, your health, your thoughts, your environment. Emotions are like weather. They change based on what you feed your mind and how you choose to live. Some days are sunny with belief and confidence. Some days are cloudy with doubt and fear. If you don't understand this, you'll take every bad emotional day personally, thinking you're weak, thinking you lack potential, thinking you're not meant for great things. But emotion doesn't determine potential. Emotion reflects preparation. If you take care of your mind, your beliefs, your habits, your goals, your body, your environment, your relationships, your finances, you'll have better emotional weather more often. But if you ignore your physical health, if you never feed your mind with knowledge, if you live carelessly, hang around negativity, allow procrastination, and avoid responsibility, your emotional weather will constantly turn against you. Not because you're unlucky, but because you haven't taken control. When emotion is a servant, it energizes your decisions. When it becomes a leader, it destroys your decisions. A servant emotion helps you love deeply, work passionately, create beautifully, push intensely, focus powerfully. But a leader emotion will make you jealous, reckless, distracted, lazy, overreactive, addicted to comfort. Emotion can be your greatest fuel or your greatest trap, and the difference depends on who commands who. If you lead emotion, you gain power. If emotion leads you, you surrender power. Look at discipline. A disciplined person doesn't always feel like working, studying, practicing, waking up early, or building something meaningful. They don't wake up excited every single day. They simply decide to lead their emotions rather than asking their feelings for permission to act. Weak people ask their emotions, "Should I?" Strong people tell their emotions, "We're doing it." Weak people wait to feel ready. Strong people act, and the feelings catch up later. Winners understand something that most people never learn. You don't need to feel good to live a good life. You need to do good to eventually feel good. Your actions must shape your emotions, not the other way around. Think of a worker who goes to their job every day regardless of mood. They don't stay home because they don't feel like it. They don't quit because they're bored. They don't work only on energized days. They go because duty is greater than mood. And that's exactly how your dreams must be treated. They must be treated like a duty, not an emotional hobby. When you only work on your goals when you feel like it, your goals are no longer goals. They're emotional toys that your feelings pick up and drop whenever they want. Great goals must be built on decisions, not feelings. Emotional people have wishes. Decisive people have plans. Emotional people wait for luck. Decisive people make progress. You must learn to talk to your emotions like a leader talks to their team. When fear shows up and tries to protect you from failure, say, "Fear, thank you for trying to help, but I've got this." When procrastination tries to push something to tomorrow, tell it, "Procrastination, I know you're trying to keep me comfortable, but comfort won't build me, so we're working now." When doubt whispers, "You're not good enough," respond with, "Doubt, you don't get to decide my future. My decisions do." When laziness says, "You can do it later," say, "Later is how dreams die. We do it now." That inner conversation is the real battle of life. The person who wins inside wins outside. The goal is not to eliminate emotion. The goal is to be the master of it. You don't want a life without emotion. You want a life where emotion is powerful, but not in control. Where emotion adds passion to your purpose, not confusion to your decisions. Where emotion helps you love your life, not sabotage your life. Emotion is a wonderful servant, full of energy, full of passion, full of motivation when used right. But it will never be a safe leader. The day you decide that logic leads and emotion follows, that discipline commands and feelings support, that purpose directs and emotion energizes, that is the day your life will begin to move forward on your terms, rather than the terms of whatever you feel in a fleeting moment. Every life is controlled by rules, whether you realize it or not. The difference is that successful people create their rules, while unsuccessful people are ruled by their moods. Without rules, you will always negotiate with your emotions. You will try to convince yourself to work, convince yourself to wake up early, convince yourself to stop wasting time, convince yourself to change. And negotiation with emotions never ends in victory, because moods are expert lawyers. They know how to defend laziness, justify procrastination, protect fear, and excuse excuses. If you allow your moods to debate with your goals will lose every time. That is why your life needs rules, clear, non-negotiable. Firm commands that are stronger than how you feel. Rules are the invisible structure behind every remarkable life. You may not see them, but you see their results. Ask someone who is physically fit. They don't work out only on the days they feel motivated. Ask someone financially stable. They didn't save and invest only when they were in the mood. Ask someone who is educated or skilled. They didn't read books, practice their craft, or learn new skills only when they felt excited. Behind every strength, there is a rule. Behind every consistency, there is a rule. Behind every achievement, there is a rule. Emotion may start the journey, but only rules can finish it. Think about sports. A professional athlete doesn't wake up and decide whether they feel like training. They don't check their mood to decide if they will practice. Their training is a rule. Their diet is a rule. Their rest is a rule. Their effort is a rule. Their improvement is a rule. Emotion does not decide their performance. Rules do. Now imagine what would happen if you applied that logic to your own life. Imagine if your health had rules, Imagine if your finances had rules. Imagine if your learning had rules. Imagine if your goals had rules. You would no longer depend on motivation. You would no longer wait for feelings to decide your future. You would no longer be vulnerable to emotional weather because your life would be built on structure, rules, or decisions made in advance. They protect you from your weaker moments. The reason people break promises to themselves is because those promises depend on how they feel. But rules don't depend on feelings. Rules don't care whether you're tired or inspired, lazy or energetic, confident or doubting. Rules simply stand. A rule says, this is what I do, not because I always want to, but because I said so. When you build your life on your words, instead of your emotions, your character grows stronger. And when your character grows stronger, your emotions respect it. Yes, your emotions learn to respect you. They stop debating with you because they realize you don't negotiate anymore. Look at people who fail to build discipline. They always have the same habit. Their decisions are emotional decisions. They wake up and check their feelings before they check their responsibilities. They act based on mood instead of mission. They work when they feel inspired and rest when they feel bored. They push hard one day and disappear the next. Their goals are constantly interrupted by emotional interruptions. They may have talent, they may have dreams, they may have passion, but without rules, all of those blessings turn into wasted potential. Most people want success, but they don't understand that success is not built on inspiration. It is built on regulation. Regulation means you run your life like a business, and a business doesn't close because the owner doesn't feel like working. A business doesn't open late because the owner was feeling lazy. A business doesn't stop growing because the owner was not in the mood. A business has hours, guidelines, strategies, systems, and rules. If you ran your life with even half that structure, your emotions wouldn't stand a chance at sabotaging your progress. You need rules for effort. A rule that says, I give my best daily, not my leftovers. You need rules for time. A rule that says, certain hours belong to my growth and nothing interrupts them. You need rules for learning. A rule that says, I invest in my mind the same way I invest in my comfort. You need rules for health, rules for spending, rules for habits, rules for relationships, rules for social media, rules for sleep. Not hundreds of rules, just a few powerful ones that define your standards. Your standards create your future. If your standards are emotional, your life will always collapse under pressure. But if your standards are written in discipline, life has to respect you. Rules are not limitations. They are protection. They protect you from the version of yourself that doesn't care about the future. They protect you from the voice that says, do it tomorrow. They protect you from the habit of settling for average. They protect you from becoming the person you swore you'd never be again. Rules are how you lock the door against your worst impulses. They are how you prevent your emotions from sneaking in and stealing your progress. Most people will keep living a life that depends on how they feel. They will only act when motivation is strong, only change when pain gets unbearable, only move when pushed by circumstances. But the people who build great lives do something different. They make decisions today that command tomorrow. They set rules today that shape their future. They write standards today that silence their emotions later. They don't let today's mood destroy tomorrow's opportunities. They live by rules, not moods. And because of that, emotions become their energy, not their enemy. Strength is not something you receive. Strength is something you build. People admire confidence, courage, calmness, focus, endurance, and emotional control as if these qualities were gifts given to the lucky. They're not gifts, they are muscles. And just like physical muscles, emotional strength grows only through resistance. You don't get stronger by avoiding the weights in the gym, and you don't get mentally or emotionally stronger by avoiding the problems, discomforts, stresses, or challenges of life. What weakens people is not the problem itself, but their habit of running from it. And what creates power in a person is not the absence of storms, but the willingness to face the storms until they learn how to sail through them Every emotion that scares you is a muscle trying to grow. Fear is resistance. Pressure is resistance. Failure is resistance. Rejection is resistance. Pain is resistance. And resistance builds strength, but only if you lift it. Your emotions are not there to break you. They are there to train you. Trouble is your emotional gym. Obstacles are emotional weights. Every difficult situation you survive is like adding another plate to the barbell of your character. You grow by lifting what you once believed you couldn't handle. That is how confidence is built. That is how resilience is formed. That is how life shapes champions. Not through comfort, but through pressure. Look at someone who has lived a comfortable life with no challenges, no risks, no emotional resistance. They may appear calm on the outside, but they are fragile on the inside. They panic easily. They fear change. They break at the first sign of pressure. They drown in stress because they never learned to swim in it. A life without emotional training creates a weak heart and a weak mind. You weren't made to live without challenges. You were made to grow through challenges. Discomfort is the teacher that helps you earn the strength you admire in others. You don't become brave by waiting for courage. You become brave by facing something that scares you and doing it anyway. People misunderstand growth. They think growth feels good, but growth rarely feels good in the moment. Growth feels like resistance. Growth feels like discomfort. Growth feels like inconvenience. Growth feels like effort without reward. Growth feels like sacrifice without applause. Growth feels boring, repetitive, heavy, and sometimes painful. But so does lifting weights. And yet those weights are the reason the body becomes strong. Emotional and mental strength follow the same law. If you only do what is easy, your emotions will dominate you. If you do what is difficult, your emotions will obey you. Think of stress like weight on a bar. If you lift a weight that is too heavy, it breaks you. But if you lift a weight that challenges you just enough, it grows you. Life works the same way. You must learn to lift emotional weight gradually. You don't have to conquer every fear in one day. You don't have to face every challenge at once. But you do have to face something. Start with a fear you can lift. Start with a habit you can change. Start with a responsibility you can handle. Start where you are with what you can lift today. Then, over time, increase the weight. Increase the challenges. Increase the level. That is how emotional strength is built, not by waiting for life to get easier, but by training yourself to get stronger. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a result of repetition. The more you face something, the less it controls you. The more you do something, the less fear it has. Confidence comes after action, not before it. When a person says, "I'll do it when I feel confident," they will never do it. Because confidence is not the starting point. It is the reward. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action taken while fear is present. Every time you take action in the presence of fear, the fear gets smaller and your courage gets bigger. That is emotional training. You shrink fear by outworking it. Life is constantly giving you exercises meant to build you. When someone criticizes you, it's an exercise in emotional stability. When life delays your goals, it's an exercise in patience and persistence. When plans fail, it's an exercise in adaptability. When someone hurts you, it's an exercise in forgiveness. When opportunities demand effort, it's an exercise in discipline. When you get rejected, it's an exercise in confidence without approval. When you feel overwhelmed, it's an exercise in calmness under pressure. Some people fail because they think life is attacking them. But life isn't attacking you. Life is training you. Some people avoid the training and collapse. Some people step into the training and grow. If you see every difficulty as damage, life will break you. But if you see every difficulty as training, life will build you. A weightlifter doesn't complain that the weight is heavy. They expect it to be heavy. They understand that heaviness is necessary for strength. You must adopt that same mindset. Expect challenges to feel heavy. Expect problems to feel frustrating. Expect growth to feel uncomfortable. And when you feel the weight of life pressing on you, don't wish for it to disappear. Ask yourself, what strength can I build by lifting this? When you stop seeing problems as punishments and start seeing them as practice, your emotional life changes forever. There will always be people who hope for a life without problems. But hope is not strategy. Strength is strategy. Emotional training is strategy. Mastering your reactions, not escaping them, is strategy. Your mind and emotions can become unshakable, but only if you stop trying to avoid resistance and start learning from it. You grow when you lift life instead of letting it crush you.